So, why did England colonize the New World? So, there's a few reasons. The first was to really rival Catholic Spain. So, England had become a Protestant nation under the Anglican Church, united in the late 1500s by Queen Elizabeth I. And they were competing with Spain for national glory and power and wealth, especially through trade initially. But later, there was this pressure within England for poor peasants to leave and seek economic opportunities because there was so much unemployment in England. So they came to the New World and settled in North America and other places as well, in the West Indies, for example, but looking for economic opportunities to own land. So for individual economic opportunity to own land, that was a big draw for English immigrants coming to the New World. Finally, to flee religious persecution. As you know, in New England, many Puritans came, pilgrims also came, uh, looking for freedom from religious persecution and to kind of establish their own religious communities because they were at odds. The Puritans were at odds with the Anglican Church, as were the Pilgrims, who actually separated from the Anglican Church. So, who made up English immigrants? So, about 500,000 people had left England in the 17th century. Most had gone to Ireland or the West Indies. Ireland, of course, was much closer to England, so a lot went there. The West Indies is what we know as the Caribbean islands today, right? So 120,000 English immigrants went to the Chesapeake region in the 1600s. Chesapeake is Maryland and Virginia. And then another 21,000 in the 17th century went to New England. And again, those were mostly for people that were establishing religious communities in New England, but in the Chesapeake region, most of the people that were coming were young, single men, poor men looking for economic opportunity. So overall, 2/3 of English immigrants, of the people that were leaving England in the 17th century, were indentured servants. This means they were people looking for economic opportunity, but they had to work for 5 to 7 years, usually, for a landowner who would pay their passage over to the New World. So the two main areas of colonization in North America for the English were the Chesapeake and the New England regions. So the English first arrived in America in search of economic opportunity in Chesapeake and religious freedom in New England. Both of these ideas prevailed, but along with a few contradictions. So, for example, in the Chesapeake region, although many people were coming for economic opportunity, they were, one, taking economic opportunity and land away from Native Americans. Also, they were using indentured servants for much of the labor in the tobacco fields, and then slave labor became more common after Bacon's Rebellion in the late 1600s. In terms of contradictions of religious freedom in New England, a lot of these religious communities, the Puritans and the Pilgrims that were coming in search of religious freedom, were actually persecuting and ostracizing many of their own people who were dissenting against religion, or their form of religion, people with different ideas. So, for example, Roger Williams, who was forced to flee Massachusetts Bay Colony and establish Rhode Island because he didn't believe in mandatory church service. Another example is Anne Hutchinson. And you'll read a document about her trial, but she was pursuing her own belief and religious understanding of the Bible and God, and was really challenging the male authority of the church.